Okay, so there's a new security alert out for Linux systems, simply because there has been an exploit found in the Linux kernel that has existed for 9 years. And they're now finally getting around to finding out that it actually existed and patching it. Now, this old exploit has been dubbed copy fail, and there are still a lot of distributions that are still vulnerable to this. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about what this exploit is and how it runs and all that stuff. There are a lot of other videos out there that can explain it a lot better than I could. My recommendation is just to go watch Brody Robertson's video. He did an excellent job at explaining what this exploit is, how it works, all of that. Go watch his video because it's going to explain it a lot better than I could. So basically what copy fail does is allow a hacker to gain root access to your system. Now, this exploit requires that code be run on your system, like a script, like a Python script is how they discovered it. But there are different versions, like there's a C program that can do it and all of that. And if you know anything about Linux, you know that once that they gain root access to your system, they can do anything to your system. They can take it over, they can make changes to your system, they can do anything, including brick your system. So this is a major problem, and definitely you should make sure it gets patched on your system. So who is vulnerable today? Well, that's kind of a complicated question because right now, not all distributions are vulnerable. Some distributions have the patch. Right now, if you are running kernel 7, you should be good. Kernel 7 already had it patched. So if you're running Ubuntu 26.04, you should be good. If you're running a rolling release like Arch and OpenSUSE and you've got kernel 7 on your system should be secure against this particular vulnerability. But there are lots of distributions out there that are still vulnerable and have not yet been patched, and they're generally long-term support versions except for Ubuntu 26.04. Ubuntu 24.04, the last I checked, it was still vulnerable. That was over 24 hours ago. The site was down when I went to go look today, so I'm going to assume it's still vulnerable. So that's 24.04 for Ubuntu. The current LTS, Debian Trixie, is still vulnerable as of the time of recording this video. I actually have a home lab server that runs Debian, so this was something I had to check, and it was vulnerable. And I did have to run a fix, but I'll get into that in a second. Also, I think Red Hat is still technically vulnerable too. So if you're running one of those LTS versions, you might still be vulnerable to this exploit. So what do you do if you think you're vulnerable? Well, for one, keep your distribution up to date. Make sure that you run an update, like on Debian and Ubuntu, run a sudo apt update, sudo apt upgrade. Make sure your rolling release, like Arch, is up to date. OpenSUSE, you need to make sure it's up to date. So basically, you're making sure you're running the latest kernels on those rolling releases. Also, this should go for any time, but especially now, do not run any random scripts or random software from any random repository or website. This is a biggie, because if you're running random scripts, you could be running that exploit, as well as any random software from any random place. Get your software from trusted sources like your distributions repository or directly from the developer. Don't go to any third-party sites and download any software. Okay, like I said, this goes for any time. You shouldn't be running any random scripts or software. So if you think you're vulnerable, there is a fix that you can apply right now without having your distribution patch your kernel. And basically what you do is disable the module. And it's just one little short command. It's regularly available. I'll post that command down in the description so that you know what it is. But basically it disables the effective module, and then you just reboot your computer or server, and it just won't load that module, and then you should be secure. from this exploit. This is what I did on my home lab server because it was vulnerable. It did have a vulnerable kernel on it. I did check it. So I just disabled the module, rebooted the server, and now I should be A-OK. Honestly, if you're running a version of kernel 6 and you don't know if it's a specific kernel version that has been patched yet, I would highly suggest that you just disable the module with this command, and that way you can be sure that nobody can exploit your system like this. Most people don't need this module enabled anyway, so just disable it and you should be fine. You should be able to use the system as you have always used it. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. Stay safe out there. Take care.